What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're talking about some clones that have traditionally been pretty hyped up over the last few years, but not so much in the last year or so, because just so much has been coming out. Fragrance world has really hit the scene really hard in the last 2 years. Paris Corner's stepped up a lot. Lattafa continues to roll, Afnan, Armaf, and so on. So these are kind of like some Middle Eastern hype beasts of recent past, I guess would be fair to say. And the question is, are they still worth buying? We're going to explore that one by one through all 10 of these. Stay tuned. Starting with one of my wife's personal favorites because of the DNA it is, which is Silver Mountain Water. This is Club de Nuit Sillage from Armaf. So, should you still buy this? Is this still good? If it was good 2 years ago, guess what it still is? Good. The problem with this one is up close, chemically synthetic, cheap smelling, smells like a $5 fragrance up close. Out in the air, you let this sillage just catch you, that's where the magic takes place. This is, on paper, virtually identical to Silver Mountain Water, but out in the air, it's where the magic takes place. It's an actual monster performer compared to Silver Mountain Water. Has that inky, metallic, fresh citrus, clean musk smell. A little bit of that green herbal tea note. It smells pretty close. It smells like a cheaper version of Silver Mountain Water, a cheaper, stronger version. That is exactly what it is. Out in the air, it's magic. Again, if you stay away from it, you'll understand more of it. If you get to smelling it up close, you're like, oh, this is cheap crap. This smells terrible. It's so synthetic. Oh, it gives me a headache. I've heard a lot of those things over the years. That's not the point. Fragrances aren't made to be smelled up close like we do when we're testing things. The wearing experience is not you walking around doing this all day. You know what I mean? So spray it like you normally would, go on about your business, and let the magic take place. For around 30 bucks, this is still a great pickup. It's Club de Nuit Sillage. This was just mentioned in my live stream, I believe, yesterday. I think it's still top tier when it comes to clones of Tobacco Vanille. This is from Paris Corner, Pendora Scents line, Charuto Tobacco Vanille. Pretty damn spot on. Been a long time since I've worn it myself personally. Creamy vanilla, dry, spiced, earthy tobacco. The profile is pretty much a dead ringer. It's not quite the quality of a private blend Tom Ford, but man, for the money, it is really good performer too. Like the bottle, I like that it's not a complete rip-off bottle. The cap's similar, obviously, but this is a good one. This is another one I think is totally worth it if you're looking for pretty much about as close to one-to-one profile lockdown for Tobacco Vanille. This would be it. Again, nowhere near the quality. It's just not going to be. But for a fraction of the cost, you can get a lot of bang for your buck here. Again, if you're looking for the proper way to get that sweet, spicy, earthy tobacco smell, Pendora Scents from Paris Corner did a really good job with Charuto Tobacco Vanille. I think it's still worth it. Now here's one that doesn't get any love anymore. And for a long time, it was Club de Nuit Intense Man versus Afnan Supremacy Silver. That was the argument. That was the battle. Then Supremacy Not Only Intense came around, and this got forgotten. Now we have Supremacy Collector's Edition, which I think is even better. And all three of them are not as redundant to one another as you would think, because this smells like Amethyst. This is going the get as close as you can to it route. Supremacy Not Only Intense kind of smells like Amethyst. It kind of smells like Hachivat, but it's really a blackcurrant oak moss bomb, like spicy, smoky, dark, tart, and fruity, and it's a monster. Supremacy Not Only Intense is kind of its own thing, honestly. It's not really a clone. Inspired, sure, but more of its own thing. Supremacy Collector's Edition is walking a path towards Absolute Aventus, but instead of spices, it's got white blossoms and stuff like that, a little bit of jasmine in the heart. It's more white floral dominant. Nice twist. This, they were going, let's make it smell like Creed Aventus. And they did a good job. The quality has always been superior with this versus Club de Nuit Intense Man. I wore it a few weeks ago. Randomly got an itch to wear it again, to revisit it. This is still that good. There's just so many Aventus clones since this was a star that it got forgotten about quickly. And this is still absolutely, when it comes to getting close to Amethyst with pretty good quality, especially for like $25 to $30 this cost, this is still the upper tier of Creed Amethyst clones, in my opinion. So is this still worth grabbing today? Supremacy Silver? I think so. Now, LeBeau's DNA in general has been pretty well duped at this point. Now, this is a dupe of the EDT. Most stuff has been cloning the Le Parfum, and even lately, Lattafa cloned Paradise Garden, the newest release. So we're talking Paris Corner's Kaheela Platinum. This is a dead ringer, in my opinion. I've had a few people argue with me, but hey, teach their own. Whatever. If you don't think it's that close, good for you. I do. Actual LeBeau EDT, pretty spot on. That citrus coconut water smell with that powdered sweet tonka bean, that simplistic yet beautiful and chemically synthetic tropical fragrance. This still gets really freaking I mean, this is like a dead ringer to me for LeBeau Eau de Toilette, the original. It is so good. But Collage Island. Now look, Mason Alhambra's Glacier Bold's really good. I still would have, you know, they're different enough. I still think this was really worth it. But now that we've evolved into cloning more of the flankers, because the flankers, you still get this profile. Le Parfum and Paradise Garden, you still get this in it. Just evolved. More nuance, more notes, more depth. I think because of things like Lattafa's Naja Intense, which is the Paradise Garden clone I was speaking on, and Collage Island, which is LeBeau Le Parfum, I think it's time to let this one go. It's still really good. And look, if you're looking for LeBeau EDT, this is still the one I recommend. But I recommend the Le Parfum and Paradise Garden over it. I recommend Lattafa Naja Intense and Collage Island over this. So, yeah, the first one so far in this video kind of pains me a little bit because I think it is a really good, like, dead ringer for LeBeau EDT. But Kaheela Platinum from Paris Corner, not so much. Atomic Rose. Patchouli, earthy, thick, jammy, sweet rose. Still a really good fragrance. Nothing's changed. Hasn't been duped to death as of late. It went through a stretch. And to me, the best of the bunch was Lattafa's Bade'e Amethyst for the longest time. They had Infini Rose from Alhambra and all that. And sure, there's some good ones out there. I think this is still him. This is still that jam. If you want that super thick rose smell, that almost jam-like sweetness, this is still so intoxicating to smell. It's a monster performer, too. You can get this one for under, I believe it's under $30 these days. This is still that good. A little smoked, rich and ambery, nice and warm, thick fragrance. Hint of earthiness. I believe it's patchouli in here. I don't remember exactly. It smells like a little bit of patchouli. I think this one's still good. To this day, I think this is still the way to go if you like rose fragrances, especially if you've tried Atomic Rose and you want to save some money and get something pretty damn close. Yeah, I think it's still good. Lattafa's Bade'e Amethyst. A profile that has been cloned to death is Ombre Leather from Tom Ford. Well, this is kind of a falls in between kind of fragrance because you get elements of the Parfum and elements of the Black Bottle EDP because you get the florals, you get the violet leaf, but you still get the leather and the sweetness and all that good stuff. This is Afnan's Rare Carbon. I had decants of Ombre Leather and Ombre Leather Parfum. Then I got this. This held me off for a long time before I eventually got 50 mLs of both of those. Does this replace those? No. Obviously, I still ended up getting Ombre Leather and Ombre Leather Parfum at some point, but this held me off for a long time because when I was in the mood for it, I would just spray this. This is a really good interpretation. Afnan's typical quality, pretty good stuff. It's around $30 to $35. And it's still a great option. They have amber and leather from Alhambra and insert name of this one and insert name of that one. And there's a bunch of good ones out there. But to me, the best one I've ever smelled was always Rare Carbon because it offered a little bit of both versions of Ombre Leather that were on the market at the time. We have Eau d'Ombre Leather now, obviously. Is this still worth grabbing if you don't want to spend Tom Ford's signature line money? I think so. I think if you're looking for ombre leather, Rare Carbon is still the way to go. One that takes one of the greatest fragrances Pierre Montal's ever made, both from a popularity standpoint and a wearability standpoint, and makes it a little bit fresher. We're talking about Paris Corner's Cedrat Essence. This is a more musky, citrus-dominant take on Cedrat Boisé. It's not as fruity, like you don't get it's more bergamot and lemon and stuff like that than it is blackcurrant. I don't get really any leather whatsoever. The woods are softened up greatly, and I get a very clean musk that dominates the dry down of this. Again, this is more slight twist than direct clone. I've always enjoyed this, but Cedrat Boisé, in most places these days, you can get for around $60 to $65. This is a $30 fragrance. When it was $80, it was easier to say, give this a shot. I don't think this is worth getting anymore. Just buy Cedrat Boisé. It's superior. It's the original. It performs a little bit better. It's a deeper fragrance overall, because this is a slightly fresher one. Now look, if you liked it with the smells, you liked the smells. But I think this is one that just can't measure up based on the price of what Cedrat Boisé is these days. I think you got to let it go. Do what you want with your money, but for me, just get Cedrat Boisé. It's so affordable at this point, it's ridiculous. So pass on Cedrat Essence. Now this is a dead ringer. Slightly creamier musk, slightly spicier ginger. That's really, and it's kind of a reach, that's really the only differences I've ever noticed between Why Le Parfum and Fragrance World's F Le Parfum. This is still one of the most accurate clones, and they cloned a designer. I still, when I'm in the mood for Why Le Parfum, I just grab this, which hasn't been much lately, but this still has the fizzy aldehydes, grapefruit, apple smell. It's still so good. And I've heard rumblings of Why Le Parfum getting discontinued. I am not confirming that. I have heard this from people, and not, YSL Beauty or anything like that. So again, don't look at it as me confirming shit, because I'm not. But if true, the $30 you spend on this, I think, is still the way to go. I normally don't say get the clone over the original, but in this situation, I think it's warranted, because even a 60 ml of Why Le Parfum is like $80, which is what I have. Literally right here. I love this fragrance. I think it's the best version of Why. Fragrance World nailed it. For much less than half the cost for a 100 milliliter bottle versus a 60. Get this. I still think this is some of Fragrance World's best work, and it's on a blue fragrance of all things. Yeah, definitely still worth getting is F Le Parfum from Fragrance World. I want to say this is pretty much like TikTok's original hype beast. This and 9 p.m. I would say were their first two, where every Tom, Dick, and Harry that likes fragrance made a TikTok page. Bro gets compliments, bro. Bro, you gotta bro it, bro. Sometimes you gotta bro. TikTok. But Asad, is it still worth getting? It's cheap as hell. You can even find it for like $17 to $18 sometimes. It's super cheap. It's a really strong fragrance. It's a slight twist on Sauvage Elixir. It's not exactly one-to-one. There's pineapple, there's coffee, there's iris that I don't smell. But I do get the pineapple and the coffee out of it. Kind of adds elements and layers to the already woody, spicy DNA. For what you pay for this, because most of the time you can get it around $20 or less these days. Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely. I think this is one of the most bang-for-your-buck fragrances of all time. Some people feel otherwise, and everybody's right to their opinion, just like I am, and my opinion is for the money. Now, look, if this was $50, I would say, maybe save up. Get the Alexandria version, because it's a carbon copy, But that's $100. This is between 16 and 25 in most places. This is still the way to go. And if you hear from TikTok, bro, it's compliments, bro, panty dropper, bro, click my link, buy it from TikTok shop, bro. Still that good. Lattafa Asad. Now here's a blast from the For Love of God, Dust Me Off past. Because for the longest time, I said this was my favorite Green Irish Tweed clone. I don't need Green Irish Tweed. I still think it's really good. It's Armaf's Très Nuit. When was the last time you heard somebody talk about this? The Problem. This does smell really good. Don't get me wrong. It's a little bit richer. It still smells great. It does. The Problem is this fragrance that you can find at most rack stores for 20 bucks. Banana Republic's Grassland's better. I think this is better than this. This is a little bit more slightly spiced green. You get more of the iris. Like, this is actually, I think, a more accurate depiction. Even though they're not supposed to be walking the exact path, I feel like they walked a closer path to locking down Green Irish Tweed with Grassland versus this. I used to feel that was the case. There's slight differences to this. This was never one-to-one. But I used to say I like it better than Green Irish Tweed, and I did for a long time. Très Nuit, no. I don't think it's still worth grabbing because of Banana Republic Grassland. This is a personal preference thing, as is every opinion. It's just an opinion. I think this is the way to go. Spend the 20 bucks and get this instead. I think it's better. The quality's decent. Performance is average. They're both around 6 hours for me. Banana Republic Grassland is the way to go. So for me, an old hype beast that I literally dusted off for this. Armaf Très Nuit, not worth getting anymore. Well, that's the 10 I wanted to cover with you guys. Some of these still worth grabbing in my opinion. Some of these, let them be. Not worth it. There's better options now. You know? Again, that's just my opinion. Obviously, your opinion and experience may vary. There's links down below if you want to check any of these out, both through the YouTube shopping affiliate with places like Fragrance Buy and Sloma Shop, as well as if you go a little bit below that, I'll have links to Fragrance Buy and places like that. You might find it cheaper with one, you might find it cheaper with the other. It's nice to have options if you're looking to shop around, or of course you don't need to buy anything to check out this video. I just appreciate you watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe before you leave. And I will catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.